Great Western Trail is really one of my favorite games that exists. I think one of the things that I like so much about it is that your strategy matters a lot in that game, but also your tactics. And so the ability to kind of suss out where you're at in the game, what you want to be doing, is really, really valuable.
I won the Great Western Trail tournament at Gen Con.
Awesome.
With the Train Game Association, yes.
There are sort of, I would argue, 5 fundamental strategies that you can employ in the game. One of them is to go cowboys and buy a lot of cows.
For this game, because it was only a 3-player game, I tried to maximize cowboys, cows, and deliveries into Kansas City. So I ended up being delivered to Kansas City 3 times more than my next closest opponent. The first 2 rounds, the deliveries were so bad that I actually delivered directly into Kansas City twice, but by the end of the game I had delivered to New York twice and all of the victory point places from Toledo on to Philadelphia.
One of them is to build the builder, just tons of buildings, and then usually anchor your game plan off of I think it's the 10 buildings. One of them is the get 4 money, move your train 4 spaces, move your guy 4 spaces, and the other one is cap out your certificates and move 5 spaces. Whichever one of those is in play will kind of inform the rest of your game plan, but essentially the builder strategy is gun for one of those and then make your whole game plan around that, and then it's the rest of the buildings are the journey of having the buildings. It's really about having that superpower building, in my opinion. The third is get the engineers and try to run to the end of the track, ring the bell, so to say. The fourth strategy is to get a bunch of station masters and then just essentially make enough point scoring mechanisms that you can go that way. And then there are, the fifth is sort of do a medley of things, just try to be opportunistic, kind of focus on one of the 3 strategies, but you're not really as laser beam focused as someone in those. And those, that's at the end of the day, mostly it. You can kind of pull off a couple hybrid this and that's, but those are the 5 ways you would describe your game. And that 5th one of doing a medley, I think a lot of higher level players would say doesn't work. I disagree with them. I think that it is viable in certain games. And it depends a lot on sort of how dangerous the board is in terms of its hazards, its cost, its taxers, and things like that. So those are sort of the high level strategies that you're looking at. In terms of what really matters at the beginning of this game is where you place your buildings. If you think that you have not quite stepped up to the next level of Great Western Trail, it's probably because you're putting your buildings in the wrong spot. The decision of when to put things in the hazard payoff zones, when to put things in the middle of the street, is so fundamental to playing this game. And the easiest to understand probably is where your taxers go. If you put it right at the beginning of the trail, you're very, very likely to get paid out the most you possibly can every time because everyone comes out of Kansas City having lots of money. But if the southern swamp is dredged, it's not a very dangerous place, then that's actually a bad place to put your taxer. And so where those buildings go is, even if you're not playing a building strategy, tends to be kind of the most decisive factor in the game for how the rest of the game is going to go for you. Yeah, I think one of them is buying workers across the spectrum. If you find yourself in a position where you have 2 cowboys, 2 builders, and 2 engineers, probably something went wrong. I'm playing a game online right now where that's the case, and I'm for sure going to lose that game. It's not a great position to be in where you've they have their powers. Don't get me wrong. Each of them does something good. It's not like having them is bad, but you spent the time and the money to pick up those employees, and they're not really doing for you what you want them to do. You really want to kind of stack up. And so sort of the first level of getting good at Great Western Trail is realizing that you want to buy all of the same workers. Then you realize that it's not as simple as that, which is great. That it is, I think, a little bit deeper than that. But buying all the same workers is much better than spreading out. The other thing that I think is a common pitfall is people don't take enough money. And in first edition, that was because people were so the taking alone, like delivering to Kansas City for $6 and 6 negative points. I think in first edition, you pretty much had to do it twice every game. It was very rare that you wouldn't want to do it twice every game because money is so important. They did a nice balancing job in second edition by making it only give you $4, but still the 6 negative points. I'm pretty sure, I would say in like 90+% of games, I deliver to Kansas City once. I think that's definitely the right call. I see people not doing that sometimes because they're like, oh, maybe I can play without delivering to Kansas City. It's almost always a mistake. You need to probably deliver once.
In the first round, you should always go to Kansas City. I don't think that there's a better play than going directly into Kansas City in the first round. That extra court money completely offsets the -6 victory.
And the other thing is that people don't pay as much attention to the bandits as I think are necessary. I think anytime a bandit is at $4 or more, it should be like a high priority pickup. And folks don't tend to treat it that way. And then they're complaining about the taxers and they don't have enough money to do the things they want to do. And it's like, well, yeah, you didn't take the time to go and get the money that you needed. So you can really, it's very rare that you can never have too much money in this game. It's possible, particularly when you're playing a cowboy strategy. But with builders, with engineers, you almost always can make use of your money at pretty much any stage of the game, and you almost always want more of it.